Okay, a couple more, or maybe just one more example of factoring these trinomials where there's a number in front of x squared. So this is a warning. Just here's a common mistake people make. So you're given a question like that, you're asked to factor. So hopefully if I gave you this, you'd recognize that the first thing you're always supposed to do is common factor, and this one has a common factor of 2. So common factor. So you could divide out of 2. Well, okay, let's do that. So we have 6 y squared plus y minus 2. And then you should try to go further. So try to factor this one. So multiplies to 6, 6 and 1, or 3 and 2. And then multiplies to negative 2. So that's either negative 2 and 1, or 2, positive 2, and negative 1. So try the 6. 6 times 1 is 6. 1 times negative 2, nope, doesn't work. Try this one. This one won't work. So again, try the negative 2 and the 1 with the 3 and the 2 now. So we know that the 6 and the 1 doesn't work. So, or it could be 2 and negative 1. 3 times 1 is 3. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. That's not it. 3 times negative, that's not it. So this one doesn't work. And then this one should work. 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. 2 times 2 is 4. If I add those together, I get 1. So that's it. 3y, 2y, and then 3 I want to multiply by negative 1. So I put it in the opposite bracket, and the y would go there. So that's how you'd factor that. Let's say you didn't recognize the common. Let's say you had just tried. So here's your warning, and this is going to happen. Sometimes, you're just not looking for common factoring, so you might not recognize it. Well, one thing that's going to happen is it's going to make it harder if you try factoring this without doing common factoring. So the reason it's harder is there's a lot more numbers, right? How many numbers multiply to 12? 12 is a bad one. 12 and 1, 6 and 2, 3 and 4. So there's 3 combinations. What about the 4? Well, the 4, there could be 2 and negative 2. Sorry, it's a negative 4. Or you could have 4 and negative 1, or you could have negative 4 and 1. So, you have to try this pair with all 3 of these pairs. And then this pair with, again, all 3 of these pairs. And then this pair with, again, all 3 of these pairs. So there's a lot of combinations to try. A lot more than if you had done it the other way. And actually what's interesting here is you're going to actually find that 2 pairs will work. It turns out none of these pairs work. So I'll just save ourselves some time. But you're going to find 2 pairs will work here. And let's just look at the first pair that works. So it turns out, so let's just look through all these. So 6 times 2 is 12. 2 times minus 2. No, that doesn't work. 6, negative 2, negative 12. No, that doesn't work. So it's not this one. Here we go. So 6 times the 1 and the 2. Oh no, sorry, that doesn't work. It's the middle ones. 6 times negative 1 is negative 6, and 2 times 4 is 8. So that's our pair. So if you had 6y times, and then 2y, then remember we want to multiply the 6 by the negative 1, so they go in opposite brackets, and the 2 times 4, so like this. And you can just expand to check that it works. So one thing you might notice is this is not the same as this. Well, the reason it's not the same as this is, look at this bracket. this bracket has a common factor. So you're not actually done. You have to common factor any of these brackets. So if there is a common factor. So since there is a common factor of 2 in this bracket, you have to common factor the 2. If I take out a 2 from here or divide it 2, I'd be left with 3y and then plus 2, 2y minus 1. Now I do have the same. So when I ask you to factor, you have to factor fully. Meaning if there's any common factors left in your answer, you're not done. You have to common factor. So this is another good reason why you should always common factor first, because if you don't common factor first, there's a very good chance you're going to leave your answer here, because if you forget to common factor first, it's pretty unlikely you're going to remember to common factor at the end. So it's easier to recognize the common factor first, plus it makes the question easier. I said that 2 pairs worked in this example. It also would have worked if you had done this pair. 3 times -2, -6, and 4 times 2, 8. Those would also added to give you that. So you might have said, okay, 12 y squared plus. So these multiply to give you this, and then if you add, you get 2. So 3y, 4y, and then we want to multiply the 3 by the -2 plus 2. So again, different answer, but recognize this bracket has a common factor. So it's a common factor of 2. And I'm going to take the common factor and put it all the way at the beginning. So 3y plus 2, and then I'm dividing each term in this bracket by 2. So just 2y minus 1. So I do get the same answer, but in this case it was this bracket which had the common factor. So just again, common factor first. It makes it easier, and it saves you from probably forgetting to common factor, because if there is a common factor, you must common factor. So if you don't do it at the beginning, you can technically do it at the end, but it's more likely you'll forget to do it at the end. So try to remember common factor first. Always look for common factors before anything else.